Hello everyone. It is Sunday. Thank you for joining me for yet another CAD tutorial. Today I'm going to be doing something very simple. And if you are a beginner, it may be new to you. And for those who are more experienced, of course, it may be nothing new. But, I wanted to share that with you, which I found was a lot easier for me to do, making my cards rather than with the way I used to do it before. So this is one of the ways that I found I was a little quicker and a little easier for me to get my card bases done without having to maybe like, I don't know if that makes sense, score twice, if that makes sense. Because usually what I used to do is I would go ahead and cut the, go ahead and cut the base, the card base, of course, from this. I would go ahead and cut it to the length I want it, and then I will go ahead and score it. And then, like I was working a little harder than I should really. So what I decided to do was to find a way that I can do it a little quicker, and even if it's a few seconds. So this is one of the ways that I found worked really well. So I was able to do these 4 card bases in, I mean, like record time. Just, I'm not even sure how much time, but they're all done. I had already done the matted layer that I want, the way I wanted it, and then basically I went ahead and tried to get the as many of the card bases done as possible. What I did was I brought out a few of those sheets, 110-pound cardstock, and I used my scorer. I have a Martha Stewart paper cutter that also is a scorer. So I just use it for scoring only. What I did was, because I wanted my card bases to open this way, I needed this part to be 5.5 by 4 and the other to be 4.25. So it will flip up. Okay. What I did was, I kind of scored it in 4. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see the score lines. But if you can see, here's one score line here, and here is the one going this way. Because I wanted my card to open up, what I did was I scored on the diagonal first. So I placed my card this way, and then I went ahead and scored down the middle. Okay, so this portion here would be 5.5. This portion would be 5.5, hopefully. Then I flipped it vertically, and I also marked it down the middle, or scored it down the middle, which would also help me, to make sure that I already have my scoring done. So once I did that with the pieces, then I went ahead and I cut. Okay, so I am cutting it again on the horizontal, which should also line up with the scoring I did. Okay, so here we go. Got this done. So right away I had my 2 card bases already scored. Okay, so I didn't have to cut it and then score it. I don't know if anybody has ever done that, but yes, I have done that. Now another little trick too is with the papers that I got, I don't know if you can see the edges, it got damaged a little bit. So what I did was I used a corner puncher, and I went ahead and just got that punched. Okay, let me fix this a little bit. Okay, for some reason I like this we are memory keepers, but for some reason it doesn't always sit right. Okay, got it. So as you can see, it's not as bad. The corner, I took off some of that extra thingy dingy, and I am going to also do, well, I can do one side. It really doesn't matter, to be honest. One side is perfectly fine, and then I'm going to do another side of this. Every mistake is a fashion, and it doesn't have to be good. So right now I have 2 card bases. I just go ahead and fold it. And then I have what I need from the get-go. Now with this here, it doesn't really matter with the edge. I will just go ahead and do the other side. So since I have this side rounded, I'm going to go ahead and do this side as well to opposite that to make sure it matches. So I have this here. I can do both sides. It is fine too. It's not, you know, not a big issue at all. And if the card bases are the same, everything should line up. So I'm going to do the same thing with this side. The only thing about We Are Memory Keepers, this one here, is that it cannot punch through too much of a heavy cardstock. So I have to do it one by one. So here you have your two bases ready to go, and then here I have the two layers that I already did. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure it matches everything else. Oops. Okay, so it's done. Grab my glue. So I just find this helped me just get, you know, through this a little quicker than doing it whereby before I used to go ahead and cut the cardstock or the base in two first and then score them. But I find when I score it and then cut and then fold, I find it just saves me. It could be just a second more, but it does save, especially if you know, you doing a bunch of cards. You anyway, you can save a little time is always worth the, you know, the while. So you see right away I have two cards. You can do these, you know, pretty quickly now that you have your card bases set up, and you can just run through all of your, say if you're doing like 10 cards or something and you want to do the card bases, you go through, score them, cut, fold, you know, so everything is pretty much done, and it might save you a couple of seconds here, a couple of seconds there. I just didn't feel like using my jumbo runner, to be honest, but that's what I normally use. So let's look at this now. So here you go. I am getting everything on here. Okay, and that is it. So I was able to do two card bases in a short time. You can try it and see if it does help you in any way, but yeah, I think it's a kind of gives you a couple of seconds, you know, instead of going through cutting and then scoring. So you do it, you kind of work a little smarter by going ahead and just scoring vertically to your 4.5 by 4.25, and then of course horizontally to your 5.5. Okay, so then you have those four lines, you know, depend on how you want your card. If you want it to flip up, then you cut on the vertical. If you want it to open up, you know, the other way, then you cut it on the horizontal. So I hope I explained simply enough, but I shall see you guys next week, and be safe. Talk to you later. Bye bye.